Hey everyone, Dan here. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button and keep in mind that these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. Enjoy. Alright folks, here we are on Monday, November 13th. We're going to take a look at Fisker today. So with earnings coming up, I thought we would go ahead and come in and see where it might head, where it might try to catch support or resistance based on the reaction to earnings, or if it goes sideways, what that might look like. So I put in some trend lines. We'll take a look at the Thinkorswim study as well, and we'll call it a video. So sort of one of the most important things that might not be obvious is this downtrend resistance that it was caught in since about April of 2022. And it came down and it sort of worked itself out and then plopped back in in June, and then it worked itself out in July and tried to get some distance. Now, because the drawdown recently has been so extreme, it's getting mighty close to that downtrend resistance again. So, from a bullish perspective, my biggest concern would be that it either gets drawn back down underneath that downtrend resistance, or even if it stays outside of it, that it does what I sometimes jokingly refer to as downtrend support, meaning it comes down and it doesn't get underneath it again, but it starts following it down just on the outside, almost like it's a support level, but it's leading it downward. So I would just, keep an eye on that and be aware that if there's a plummet here, that may sort of come into play, and sort of how detrimental, how challenging that could be, since it took it a long time to get out from under there as it was. And so to get sucked back down to it or underneath it could be quite challenging. Now, levels wise, I tried to keep it pretty simple, meaning I didn't put in a ton of levels and make the chart super cluttered. So just know between some of these levels, there's probably a few more granular levels. This is on the daily. So I charted not far down because we don't have a very good roadmap further down other than the Thinkorswim study. So when we get there, that will help a little bit. But, we see volume picking up here through this drawdown and continuing to pick up as we head into earnings. So that's sort of concerning. Again, from a bullish perspective, it's obviously under extreme bearish pressure and just sort of the volume is increasing. And that 368 level to the downside, I didn't put it on just because it's obvious and it's right there. But that would be the furthest down level that I would watch. And then there's a 380. So as long as it stays above that for the time being, heading into earnings, then it may catch some support there. Now, resistance at 399, so just shy of 4, probably is more accurately just a $4 psychological level. And then I actually didn't, I'm just noticing this now. I didn't plot this on purpose this way, but so you basically have 4, 4.25, 450, and then one that's less obvious at 486. So those are the levels, if it does start to move upward, that I would be looking for it to maybe catch some resistance and sort of see what it does at those levels. Is it able to pin itself there? Is it able to flip from resistance to support? Does it get pushed off strongly and recede quite quickly from that level? To wait and see. But those are the levels that I'm going to be watching. Now, Thinkorswim with this channel can be quite helpful, and the way in which I'm looking at it at the moment is sort of twofold. One, the bearish momentum on Fisker right now is quite strong, and I don't just say that to say something obvious, but what I mean by that is whenever the price leaves a channel, whether it's to the upside or the downside, look for it at some point to come in and test the mid-range of the channel, right? So you can see when it came up and it left the upper bound of the channel here or even over here, it pretty quickly came in and tested the mid-range of the channel. Right here, quickly came in, tested the mid-range. Now here it lost support and quickly, came all the way to the bottom to test the bottom bound and came back up to test the mid-range again. So again, it's left the channel back here, but when it came in to test the mid-range of the channel, it couldn't even get there. So this can often be an example of just extreme continued bearish momentum. So basically the bearishes still have a strong grip on this, because when the price tries to come in to retest the mid-range of the channel, it can't even get there. It basically got caught on this grayish line, which is the lower to mid-range of the channel, or you could even just say it got caught in this wave cloud, this red wave cloud, and it couldn't get through there in order to get to the mid-range. So that's a sign that the bears still have complete control in the stock. And so what you saw after that was obviously a further drawdown to that 368 level that we just spoke about. And then today it's trying at the moment to sort of come back in toward the channel. So if it does lead itself back into the channel, again, I would be really interested to see what it does. Does it, worst case scenario is it sort of takes the bottom bound of the channel as resistance and can't even really get in there and just pushes down. If it does push into it, does it hit resistance off of the wave cloud again? That would signal to me that maybe the bears still have a strong grip on it. Or is it able to come up and actually at least test the mid-range of the channel, even if it pushes off of it and recoils from it and hits a strong resistance level there? At least it would have had the bullish gusto to be able to get itself to that level, which is something that we haven't seen since it was back here. Well, really sort of back here, right, when it came from below up to the mid-range of the channel. So really, it's been a couple of months almost since that happened. So that's what I would be looking for. So that's sort of the double-edged sword at the moment. It can be, quote, in quote, air quotes, good that it's outside of the channel, because it may at some point come in to test the mid-range. But because of the extreme nature of the the bearish grip on Fisker, I would just worry that it's going to be yet another continuing sign that the bears have their grip on it. But obviously we have to wait and see what it does, if it's even able to get in there. Wave cloud, mid-range, what does it do? That's going to be sort of a telling moment if and when that happens. All right, folks, I hope that your trading week is off to a good start. And as always, I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next video.